I don't want to be accusatory in how I say this, but the fact that there were, according to this letter, 27 people between all three boats and no one has said anything. It doesn't sit well with me. And it really makes me wonder other cities and small towns in the South, like how often does this kind of stuff happen and get brushed under the rug? And it's also bigger than Nolan. There have been, I don't even know how many other cases of people that have died under mysterious causes and their deaths have not been properly investigated. They've just been closed and brushed under the rug. And so I want to see justice for Nolan and I want to see justice for all of these other people that this has happened to. Yeah, it has to stop. It's crazy to me that this country is still that racist and hateful towards Black people because I think we're pretty amazing. Ooh, this is another thing I wanted to talk about, y'all. So there's another boy that is a friend of Nolan, and his mom is friends with Nolan's mom. I'm not sure if his name is pronounced Javon or Javon, so sorry if I pronounce it wrong. But there's been a lot of reading between the lines in this case, and something that is somewhat concerning to me is Javon's safety because I feel like, I don't know, I worry about Javon's safety. I do worry that he's being pressured to not speak up. The same with his mom. She's made some comments too, like, nobody's going to touch my son. And the reading between the lines in what we do know about this case kind of paints a picture of what is going on in the community. And I do think that there may be some social pressure to keep your mouth shut. I think it was the governor was blatantly threatening Nancy Grace over the weekend. So I hope Javon is okay. And I hope that, honestly, I hope all these people move out of Mississippi when this is over because I just couldn't feel safe living around an entire town of people where no one is talking. No one is sharing their security camera footage. No one is sharing pictures from the day. No one is sharing text messages. And then the pictures that we do have are so grainy and so crappy. Nobody has a new iPhone. I don't believe that. They say this is an affluent community. I don't believe no one has a new iPhone. My iPhone, the 3x zoom is amazing. Like I can zoom and see details on trees. So I just find it very hard to believe that these are the best pictures that could come out of July 4th on Horn Island. Back to this letter. So let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, so this is when the group arrived just after midnight on July 5th. Javon Williams' mother arrived at Jax's house unannounced with a group of people, most of whom were unknown to Warren, Jax, and Morgan. These individuals let themselves into the house without permission, demanding Nolan's cell phone and his whereabouts. Jax's parents were not at home. That, again, reading between the lines, why would they show up with that energy? That says a lot without saying much. They were suspicious. They didn't trust the limited information that they were being given. They didn't feel like this group was being forthcoming with information. They felt like they were hiding something. They felt like they had to go back and forth and pull teeth to get straight answers. I understand it. A female friend retrieved Nolan's phone from Wyatt's truck and handed it to Javon's mother without incident or delay. That is also not true. We have heard from Javon's mother and we've heard from Nolan's father that when they tried to get the phone, there was a little bit of back and forth. First, they said they didn't know where it was. I think it was in Wyatt's truck. Javon's mom said in her interviews that it took them like 15 minutes to go get the phone out of the truck. So that is not true. They handed the phone to his mother without incident or delay. At no time did Warren, Jax, or Morgan so much as touch Nolan's phone. Irrelevant. At no time did they have actual permission, actual possession of Nolan's phone. At no time did they have constructive possession of Nolan's phone. At no time did they access or breach his phone. At no time did they alter, delete, modify, or erase any data or information on Nolan's phone, allegedly. Then, after 2:24 a.m. on July 5th, Nolan's stepfather, Elmore Wansley, came to Jax's house and asked Jax whether he had possession of Nolan's keys. Nolan spent the night at Jax's house on July 3rd into early 4th, around 15 to 20 other people. He even slept in Jax's bed, with Jax having to find another place to sleep. After searching throughout the residence, Jax was unable to immediately locate Nolan's keys because Nolan hadn't told Jax where he left them. Another individual who was with Elmore had to text the same female friend who handed the phone to Javon's mother. So it was the same person. That's why I kept getting it mixed up. So the same girl handed the phone to Javon's mother to find out where Nolan left his keys. Turned out he left the keys on top of a video game console in Jax's bedroom. Jax immediately handed the keys over to Nolan's stepfather. But Elmore wasn't alone. There was a group of other individuals with him. This is another thing. So everyone has kind of corroborated that there was like a large group of people. I don't know if it was between like maybe 10 and 15 people We know that two of those people were Nolan's dad, Javon's mom, Javon, and then who are the other, what is that, 10, 12 people? I'm curious who they were. I'm also curious why they haven't said anything, why they haven't given their account of what happened, why nothing has been leaked. This just kind of goes back to this underlying feeling I have of socially in that town. People are being pressured to stay quiet, which has me concerned for their safety. There's a group of other individuals with him. After giving Nolan's key, the group with him refused to leave the property, even when asked to leave by Jax and his brother. This is another thing. Again, reading between the lines, if your friend is missing and his family shows up looking for him and you are forcing them to leave your house, why wouldn't you invite them in, offer them something to drink, talk about what information you know, compare notes, and try to figure out what happened to him? It's very, very suspicious to me that you would treat your brother's family this way. And then I think he even called the cops on them. Why were they so hostile towards Nolan's dad and his family when they just wanted to know what happened to their son? I see why the family showed up angry and went into the house without permission. They were pissed and their spidey senses were tingling. Something was not right. This letter, even though I think that it's meant to exonerate the three boys, is actually making them look even worse. Yeah, the group became disruptive after refusing to leave repeatedly. Jackson, his brother, finally had to call 911. And then it says they called 911 at 2:57, and there's a screenshot of a 1 minute 911 call. That's just crazy to me. I cannot believe they called 911 on the family of someone that was reported missing a couple hours ago. Crazy moves. Once the Ocean Springs Police Department arrived, the group finally left the property, and Jackson and his brother told police about Nolan not returning. They told officers truthfully no one had seen him, and the unruly group that came to their house to locate Nolan's keys and demand answers. The next day, approximately 10:30 a.m. on July 5th, Warren, together with Katie Hudson Seymour, David Seymour, Brooks Edmiston, and Jax returned to Horn Island by boat to search for Nolan. Is another thing. In the press conferences, like right after it happened, Nolan's dad said that he didn't go out to the island to look for his son that night because he didn't have friends with boats. They had at least 3 boats between the group. Why wouldn't you offer to take his dad out to look for him? Why wouldn't you want to go out to look for him? Again, reading between the lines. No one's saying that there was a murder. I don't think anyone has been accused of there being a murder because, yeah, it's correct. There's no evidence that a occurred. The question is what happened? Was it an accidental drowning? Was it an accident of another kind? Was there a fight? That would explain the bruising on the back of Nolan's head. I personally do not want to believe that this group of young adults was barbaric descendants of clan members because I mean, I just don't like to think that there are people that are that mean spirited in the world. And I just would hope to God that that is not what happened to Nolan. But I lean more towards there was some kind of an accident. They're young, they freaked out, they didn't know what to do, they covered it up. But we don't know. And that is the whole point of there being an investigation, which there was none. His death was immediately ruled accidental, no foul play. There was no investigation. There was no questioning of the 27 people that were on their 3 boats. Cell phone records. There was no collection of evidence. There was no questioning of all of the other people that were there that day. There was no honest tip line to submit pictures. We really haven't seen much of anything, which in this day and age of everything being documented on social media, it's just strange that there are not more pictures of not even Nolan that day, but just people there, period. We haven't seen anything. And to me, it's weird and it reeks of a cover up. We're almost 2 months out. No one's been arrested. No one's been questioned. No one's been accused formally. And it seems like, I'm just going to be honest, it seems like the state of Mississippi, or at the very least, the town of Ocean Springs, it seems like they're covering up some really shady activity. And it's alarming because without this going viral on social media, we would have never heard anything about it, which makes me wonder how many times they've done this in the past.
If you're talking about Ocean Springs as a whole, Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back 110%.